we're going to be talking about sexual violence today. And as you can see, we have a 26-inch pizza from Papaquino's that we're going to be eating today. What'd you get?
So on our half, we have chicken and provolone cheese.
On my half, I have pepperoni and bacon. I get my own half.
Okay, I guess
Alright,
we're
moving
gonna
on.
just dig in.
Wow.
Is that a corner piece?
Wow, this is big.
Alright, so like, what is sexual assault? Like, what is sexual violence? Take your time. Take your time.
So sexual assault. Sorry. Sexual assault. I would say is just any like unwanted sexual advances, and just like anything that makes someone feel uncomfortable. That's sexually.
So like, start with consent. So like, how does like say lack of consent lead to sexual assault, Nathan?
So lack of consent is essentially doing something without someone else's agreement. So when someone gives consent, they're giving permission to do something or agreeing to participate in something or aid. So that means that they need to know specifically what they're agreeing to. I'm gonna cross that out. Wait, what was the question you asked?
So like, so now you've kind of defined how lack of consent leads to sexual assault. Now like, what is consent now? So like, can someone who's like drunk give consent, or like who's intoxicated or anything?
They are intoxicated and they're not thinking correctly, so they cannot give proper consent. That is not what they are thinking themselves.
And this is Nathan by the way.
Oh, thank
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm Manali Jama.
Yeah, and my name is Jarl Reyes. And so we're talking about consent. So like, what about in relationships? So how does the high power dynamic sort of fit into this idea of sexual assault?
Well, with sexual assault, there's always, and like with any kind of abuse actually, it has to do with power. So the person who usually has more power is the one who is inflicting the abuse on the other individual. So if there's like a power imbalance in a relationship, the victim might not have the courage to say no, and someone having power can influence how comfortable they are, like I said, with saying no. So examples of power imbalances would be age differences, level of ability, like physical ability, position in society, like education, wealth, and citizenship.
Yeah, and then another thing in this age, we have our phones, right? Like forms of technology, and there is a lot of, they can say like sexual assault that even happens on like technology, and like what that looks like is say you are sort of texting this girl or this person that you like, and then to get attention, you send an unwanted pic. See, that'd be sexual assault because you are sending that picture without consent. So that is not, well, I guess that's pretty much a crime, I should say. And what else? And so again, it's never okay to send unwanted texts or sex or any pictures, and because people might not be comfortable with that. And also with that dynamic of being in a relationship, some people, as we know, respond faster, and some take a long time to respond. But it's very important not to be too sort of, I'd say, like clingy and be too forceful in terms of texting and wanting that connection, because some others may not feel very comfortable if you're doing that, and they might just not be the kind of person that likes to use social media or likes to text. Like, say, Manali, do you like to text all the time, or do you like more so talking in person?
I would say just like a mixture of both. Like, if I have time, I'll text, but if not, then just like whenever I see you.
Yeah. What about you, Nathan?
I'm more conservative and antisocial, so I would say like talking is better, but I think I text more.
Yeah. See, with me, what I like to do is I don't really like to use social media all that much and text, but I pretty much only use texting with others to set up meetings so we can talk in person. So like that's the kind of person I am. And say if a friend is texting me all the time and I don't respond in 2 minutes, they'll just keep sending texts, and then that makes me feel in a very like weird position, and you don't want to do that to others. So, kind of moving on. So, what does sexual assault look like in your cultures? Since we're all from different backgrounds, we'll start by saying kind of what culture you come from or what ethnicity kind of looks like for you.
So I am Laotian, and in my culture, I think in most of the foreign cultures, people from outside perspective, they believe that it's like normal for the husband to hit women or the wife. I don't really know much about my culture, but I would say that I wouldn't say that it's accurate, but it could be common. So yeah.
For me, I'm Somalian. I'm Somali. Yeah, let's correct that. I'm Somali. So in my culture, sexual assault is seen as like a very like taboo thing. So if it happens, it's not really talked about. Um, People aren't educated on it.
Mm-hmm. And then I come from a Latinx background, so I'd say in my culture, it usually isn't brought up as a very big issue. So I'd say like sexual assault happens very sort of easily. I'd say because parents and people don't like to talk about it, so it just happens and it's just kind of swept under the rug, and that's like an issue that we see. But have you guys ever like, have you guys like ever known anyone who's been like a assault victim, or ever like possibly seen a situation?
Not that I can think of.
Hmm.
Like in my personal life, no. But I know that it is very common.
Yeah. Like I know for like in my family, I've had some like cousins that like I found out that they were at one point sexually assaulted, and then it kind of like it makes me really sad to know like that they had to go through an experience like that. But yeah, but it has happened to like some of my cousins. But like since so we know this thing happens, so like, but how's your culture like address it? Like if there's like a sexual assault, like say in a family or in the group, how do they frankly like really address it if everyone knows?
I do know that it happens, but I'm not really informed on if it's ever addressed. Like it could just be happening and then just be like swept under the rug.
Yeah, I would agree with your answer because I'm not really sure. Like I haven't been like in a situation where something like that happened.
I'd say with my culture, if usually if a family member finds out or someone that's close to you finds out, they usually tend to like move away from the situation. They don't really address it for now. They just kind of distance themselves from the person who did it, and maybe say they move to a different state or location. And that's the general pattern I've seen from my own experiences. Can't speak for everyone on that part, but that's the way I've seen it. So now that we know about sexual assault, how do we work on preventing it?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of different things that we can do. One big one would be to like raise awareness. So that's like just talking about the issue, educating others. Another important one more. One more.
I'll get more.
All right, continue.
And then another important one would be like teaching consent, especially like at a young age. If you're aware of what consent is, how to ask for consent, and to know like when consent isn't present, then that can be very helpful.
What else do you think in terms of like in this this society of patriarchy, how else can we try to prevent sexual assault?
I honestly believe just break down the patriarchy by speaking out. Like if you see something, say something, and that's just one of like the main reasons, because people just see things and then they just shut it out like it didn't happen, but it did.
Mm-hmm. And then what I think, speaking to more so of like the cisgendered males and those who carry more privilege, is to sort of acknowledge your privilege, but to try to understand the pain of those survivors and their experiences. And then as they come along the survivors' journeys, as they come along sort of that mentality of trying to cope with it, become their allies and follow them with their journey instead of becoming protectors. And that's the biggest thing I can say, is to go at their pace of the survivor versus trying to protect them and potentially be calling them out in a public space or anything. Because again, you'd be making them feel uncomfortable, which is not good. Do you guys have any lasting words?
This pizza is really good.
This
It's
pizza
really
is
good.
really good.